guys, it's your girl Ella York here, and today I have a topic that is a tad bit more serious, but it's definitely something that I want to share with you, hopefully help you when you're going through a dark time. So today's topic is called Why Do We Go Through Darkness and How to Find the Light. And darkness is tough, you know, it's not happy. It's things that people generally don't want to talk about. Is why do we go through darkness? So in order to do that, I have to share a little bit of my dark and the lessons that I learned from them. So the first piece of dark for me is I had 2 pregnancy losses. As many of you that know me know how much it impacted me, how much it defined me. My first pregnancy, I found out at 8 weeks through an ultrasound. That was just a routine ultrasound. They told me that the baby had stopped growing a week before. And that was probably one of the toughest, if not the toughest moment of my life. And I was devastated. I was devastated. Yeah, it just was not something that I thought would have happened to me. So we kept trying. We decided to keep trying, and I want to say about 8 months later, I found out that I was pregnant again. And this was right around the holidays, and I was so excited. And I found out, I want to say January 2nd of the following year, and I had exactly 2 weeks with that baby. And when I went in for my 6-week ultrasound, because they wanted to check me because I'd lost, the baby last time, and the doctor I was going to at the time believed in the early ultrasound. So I went in there at 6 weeks, and they couldn't find anything. My numbers were good, but they didn't see a baby on the screen. And the doctor, was hesitant, and he said, okay, well, let's take some numbers. I'll give you a call. Come back next week, and we'll try it again. And this was on a Thursday. And I started reading, why would you have really good numbers and the baby not show up in the ultrasound? And ectopic was one of the things that showed up all the time. The more I read, the more I started to feel like it was a possibility for what was happening to me. So I got my numbers back. Everything was great. They'd actually tripled from the last time that they had taken numbers, and I had a glimmer of hope, but it was wrapped in fear. And a good friend of mine, who I love dearly, and you know who you are, I called her and expressed my concerns to her, and she said, I don't care what you have to do. You tell them that I don't care what you have to tell them. You get in today. So I did. We went through the ultrasound. It was bad news originally because the tech wouldn't show me anything, but I could see on the screen that she had found the baby. And we waited 45 minutes for the doctor, and when he came in, I said, it's ectopic, isn't it? And then he said, unfortunately, yes. And I had to be admitted to the hospital immediately for surgery. That was the second surgery that I'd had regarding pregnancies that I did not get to give a live birth for. And at that point, I hit rock bottom. I was really, I want to say it was probably one of the top 3 times in my life where I had fell into a dark place. I'm a pretty happy person in general. I try to find the good in everything, and that it took me to a really, really dark place. And I remember thinking to myself, why me? I kept thinking it. I thought it again the second time. I'm like, why me? Why do I have to go through this? I always wanted to be a mom. It took the wind. It took the wind out of me. And one day when I was thinking to myself, because after, ectopic, they have surgery, they do surgery, and they couldn't save my tube, so they ended up removing it. So I only had 1 tube, which further made my ability to have children difficult. And I remember sitting there in the recovery stage. I had 2 weeks that I couldn't do anything. I just had to sit on a recliner and think. And I tried to distract myself, but what else can you do? And I remember one of the times that I was thinking, why me, why me, why me? And I started thinking, like, who else would I want this to happen to? Who else would I have wished this on? And the honest answer is not even my worst enemy. I would not wish this on anybody. So in that moment, I knew it had to be me, because I was strong enough to deal with it. And I knew that one day my story would help somebody, and that if it helped even one woman, that it would have been an experience that I needed to go through to grow. So I decided in that moment that I wasn't going to allow the darkness to consume me, but it did. It took me a while to move past it and reach a place of peace. So that's one dark. And I will share, other ways of how to find the light a little bit later in the video. Another dark that I'm going to share, and I'll share it because she has shared this story. It's part of who she is, and it also inspires me, and that is my mom. She has gone through some darkness as well and turned it into a positive, and I'm going to share that with you. So my mom lost her dad when she was a baby, and her mom raised 11 kids on her own. And granted, like, the older kids help with the little ones, but she was the rock and pillar of that family. And I remember when I was about 8 years old, my grandmother passed away, and that hit my mom really, really hard. It impacted her spirit. And 13 years after my grandmother passed away, my mom wrote a piece of poetry. Never written poetry before. She sat down with a piece of paper and a poem came to her. So she wrote it, and it's called Pain. And I'm going to read it to you right now. It's from her book, Life Circumstances. And her name is Dr. LaVerne Jackson-Harvey. So, pain. Pain. Sharp, deep, to the core. Bottled up, but cannot open. Deeper, inside and out. The emotion is closed. It's hard to expose. Turning, churning, oozing as it implodes. Out with a sigh, hurtful, no lie. Ease, relief, slowly opening up from inside. Pain no more. That was her first piece that she ever written, and she calls it her cathartic piece because it brought her a long-awaited peace that had evaded her for years. And my mother is not as emotional as me. I love talking about my emotions. I can talk about them all day long. But she's not that way, so it took her a little bit longer to get there. But what has come from it is 3 books of poetry, a children's book, and she's working on another one. And all of her poetry is inspirational or dealing with things that have impacted her. And, I like to think of my mom as like the ultimate phoenix. You go through this fire, that turns your situation into ash. And then out of it, you have this beautiful poetry that comes to her in full pieces. And if you ask her where it came from, she'll just tell you, it came to me. I wrote it down, and you cannot ask me to repeat it because I wouldn't be able to. But she's so inspirational, and her pain, her darkness brought her gift. And how she got there was just a lot of self-reflection and soul searching, and just really, really trying to make peace with a situation that was very, very dark for her. And you honestly cannot learn some of these lessons unless you're in that dark place, unless you're in that valley, so to speak, and you're looking up at life just happening around you for everybody else, and here you are in this dark, dark place. So some of my tips for finding the light are as follows. when you're in darkness, because we all have to go through it in order to be able to give our gifts to the world and to be able to be who we need to be. First of all, don't question it. Don't ask, why me? It's you for a reason. And you may not understand that reason. You may not get it until 10, 20 years down the road when you look back at your life and you're like, wow, I had to go through that to be who I am. So don't question it. Accept it. This is my reality. That allows you to go into a place of, now what am I going to do about it? What am I going to do about it? And that takes the power away from your situation and it gives it back to you. So I'm in this place. I can do one of two things. I can wallow and let it happen to me, or I can challenge it and I can meet it head on. Challenge it. Meet it head on. And the way that you do that is when you're in the darkest of places and you feel confined, I want you to find the light. It may not be bright. It may be far off in the distance, but it's there. I promise you it's there. Look around you. Find that little glimmer of hope, that little thing that you have to fight for. And you hold on to it. And you look at that all day long. And one day, you'll realize that you've been inching slowly closer to that light. It'll feel a little warmer. It'll look a little brighter. You won't be as sad. Hold on to that light. And if you don't have that light, I'm going to tell you, you need to quiet the noise in your life. The noise in your life, in your mind, is something else. You don't even realize it's there, but it impacts you. You need a change of scenery if you can't find a glimmer of light. You need to remove things that are negative in your life that are not allowing you to be great. Things and people that are not allowing you to be great need to exit stage left and no longer have a place in your life. That should inspire you enough to find your own little glimmer of light. Realize that people have been through things and got through them and become great. Oprah went through it. J.K. Rowling went through it. Dr. LaVerne Jackson-Harvey went through it. Ella York went through it. And we climbed that mountain to the top and we made it out to the other side. We made it. You can too. Think about your life experiences, your life circumstances, and how you've made it through. And you look at that situation and you know what? You say, you know what? You're not going to break me because I've been through worse than you. I've been through bigger and badder battles than you can give me right now. And I made it through the other side. You can't hurt me. You look yourself in the mirror and you tell yourself, this is not going to break me. I will learn from this. I will overcome it and I will be better for it. Find your light. Hold on to it with everything you got. And I promise you'll find your way out. Thank you so much for being here with me today. I appreciate it. I look forward to you having the journey to find your light. I want you to stay blessed, stay powerful, keep fighting that good fight every day, and always, always, always believe in yourself. Take care, guys.